Hello, students. Good afternoon to all of you. I hope you will find at home. And I welcome you all in this lecture of Power System Instrumentation. That is your subject team. Code is 3331 as per our SUV curriculum. And Unit 4, basically, we are running Unit 4. And the topic which we are going to cover today, that is Power System Instrumentation number 1, electrical energy meters. The previous lecture was energy meters, but in this electrical energy meter, so we are going to discuss about these spatial energy meter and energy meters. We can say both. Okay, so this we are going to cover it in this lecture. And before this, power system instrumentation is a subject which totally deals with the instrumentation or amazing part of power system. But if I want to tell you about the power, so we can say power deals with the voltage, current, we can say energy, okay, EMF, power, all these things. So if you want to measure it, though I need an instrument. I need an instrument. That instrument is known as the measuring instrument. But if I'm talking about the power system instrumentation, so instrumentation is basically deals with how much of that which type of instrument we can use for the measurement of the quantity, that is electrical quantity in power system. So which type of instrument we are using, that we are going to study, and we have studied in this in the previous units or previous series of lecture, we can say. So power system instrumentation is an important subject for the measuring purpose side, and it is an extension part of electrical measuring instrument subject which we have studied in the previous years. Okay, we can say third semester in our second year. So we can say previous year we have studied about the electrical measuring instrument. So it is the extension part of this, but in that instrument we studied the how a meter, voltmeter, power, watt meter, energy meter we use. But which type of instrument we are using extension of the that instrument, these instruments in power system. So we have studied a lot about this thing. So as per the our curriculum, unit number 1 basically deals with the unit number 1. So unit number 1 is totally deals with the errors, but this type of errors are how many errors we can find in an instrument if while we measure something. If I am measuring something, those there are so many errors we'll find. These errors may be random, gross, environmental, systematical, okay, parallax, so many errors we can find. So these are the errors. But why we can call count errors? Because errors is basically affect your accuracy. Accuracy means accurate value, and the accurate word is basically the accuracy came from the word accurate, and accurate means how we are getting the true value. True value, we can say the accuracy and accurate. So the true value I am getting, that is the accurate value I am getting. So precision is the repetitive readings, we can say measure of readings. So repetitive readings we have. So precision is closeness to accuracy, closeness to true value, we can say. So that is your precision. So we having the precision, we having the accuracy, both we having in it. Okay, so if I'm talking about the accuracy and precision both, my dear student, so it means I am talking about the we can say what we can say I'm talking about the how can we calculate the errors. Means I am getting the readings, for example, my final reading or accurate or true reading is 5 ampere, but I am getting the reading 4.9, 4.7, 4.6, 4.5, 4.7, 4.9, and so on. Means repetition of that readings, we can say. So if I am getting the repetition of reading, means I am getting precision readings. And if I am taking average of it, so that is the basically the mean or average, and that average, and if I basically measure all the readings with the average, there will be some deviation, difference, we can say. And how can we make errors if I am the reading of errors? So I make errors in positive side, in negative side by their deviations. We can make a curve known as Gaussian curve, because for example the reading is 4.9. If I'm getting the we can say the mean is 4.5, and 4.5 4.95 4.9 minus 4.5, I'm getting minus zero point 0.5, and plus 4.55, but I'm getting the less of it, I'm getting minus. So minus and plus both I am having the readings or errors, so we can make a curve, make a distribution, that is the normal distribution curve known as Gaussian curve. So we can make a Gaussian curve with the help of we can say what, with the help of these things, basically the errors in the unit number 1. Then in the unit number 1, we study about the deviation, that is the standard deviation. First, we calculate the average known as mean. Then we having the deviation with that mean, that is mean deviation. Then we take average of it to average deviation, standard deviation. We have studied a lot. We do some numericals on it. So we can find with the help of these. I hope you understand. Now in the unit number 2, basically we have studied about the unit number 2, that is the instrument, element, component, or particle of a system which is used to for the conversion purpose, means energy conversion. One form of energy to the another form. One form we can say physical quantity. Basically mechanical, acoustic, chemical, pressure, displacement, temperature. All these are the physical quantity. Convert into the electrical quantity. So if I am talking about the electrical quantity, it means I am talking about the power, voltage, current, energy. Electrical means transducer. Transducer is a component which is used to convert one form of energy to the another form. So we are learning this subject or studying this subject in electrical engineering. So we talk about the electrical transducer. So what is electrical transducer? Electrical transducer is a device or component, element, particle of a system which is used to convert one form of energy to the electrical energy. Maybe my physical, all these physical and mechanical also. It is a part of physical. Acoustic, maybe the acoustic. So basically that is the transducer. But transducer having two main parts. One is the sensor element, another is the transaction element. Sensor element, if I am talking about, my dear student, the sensor senses that which type of quantity we have and how can we do the sensor. And transaction means how can we conversion of that into the another form. So conversion of that into the another form, we can say that is the done by basically take place by the transducer. Okay, so we having on the basis of the types, we having so many different types of transducer. We can say what uh, we can say the basically digital, analog, primary, secondary, active, passive. Okay, and in transducer we having two parts. One is the sensor, another one is transaction. So we having on the basis of transaction we having different type: capacitive, inductive. We can say displacement is there, photoconductive, phototransitive, photovoltaic, piezoelectric crystal. So many different types we have. In this, we having one example, that is magnetic measurement. We can use Hall effect. We can use LVDT, that is linear variable differential transducer, for displacement of core. We can found the displacement. Then we having the RVDT, rotatory, you can say. Then we having the strain gauge. Apply the strain, it displays like piezoelectric crystal. When we apply force on it, it will give you the output in the form of electrical, that is voltage. And if we give apply voltage on it, it is inverse transducer here. So displacement means changes is very. So I hope you understand all these things. And when we studied about the strain gauges, I already told you. Then we can say piezoelectric crystal, capacitive, inductive. We having thermistor, Seebeck effect based thermocouple, RTD, resistance temperature detector. Okay, so many transducer we have studied. These are the names which I'm telling you. Basically, we uh, deal in a elaborative manner in the unit number 2, my series of lectures. I told you about whole these transducer in a we can say in a elaborative manner, that how they works, where we use it, what are the application we have, why we are using this thing, because they having certain applications. So we talked a lot about this. Then in the unit number 3, that is the we can say signal conditioning. So signal conditioning is basically the we can say how can we condition a signal in a power system or in a system, we can say. So if I want to signal conditioning means if I want to condition the signal, though I need certain equipments. These equipments are basically, first the transducer is already we have, that is sensing element. Then we having the amplifiers. If I am talking about the amplifiers, my dear student, the amplifiers are instrumentational amplifiers, instrumentation amplifier. So if I'm talking about the instrumentation amplifier, before this I have to understand about the op-amp. Op-amp is the operational amplifier. Is again an amplifier which performs the mathematical operations in amplification. Means if I am talking about the mathematical operation means we are talking about the we can say the additive. means addition, subtraction, differentiation, integration, logarithmic, anti-logarithmic, you can say voltage follower. So these all are we can perform on a single chip that is known as IC741, a 8-pin structure known as operation amplifier. So we can perform the mathematical operation on it, that is it is known as operational amplifier, and we use mathematical operations. So I discussed previously that is so many mathematical operations we can perform in that amplifier. In that amplifier, we having the 8 pins, but 3 pins are not in use. 5 pins are in use. One is inverting input, another one is non-inverting input, and we having one output, two voltages, sources positive or negative, two null set, and one no correction. Means IC741 having the 8-pin structure. So I hope you understand this all. And basically, why we are using basically it's having the low high input resistance high and output resistance low. So high output gain, we can say the gain is very high, and CMR is also very high. We can say common mode rejection ratio is very high. So we can say all these things. So this is the about the we have studied in the unit number 3. So this is the unit about the unit number 3. In this, first is the op amp, then we understood about the instrumentation amplifier. If I'm talking about the instrumentation amplifier, in instrumentation amplifier, we having 3 amplifiers, 3 operational amplifiers to do the same work, but the third one is basically doing the difference work of it, the output of 2. So we are having the difference of it. Output of 2, we are having the difference of 1, that is the output of 2. So we are getting in the differential amplifier. Next, we having the we can say in differential. After this, we having the isolation amplifier. Now nowadays the basically medical applications are very uh, we can say advanced. So in this application, we use that electronic machines which is directly connected to the patient body, and we can measure the reading for MRI, for heartbeat, for pulse rate, all these. So in this, if I am using no isolation amplifier, then what happens? Because all the components are working with the electrical power, they need electrical power. So if they are needing electrical power, though there will be some leakage current. So that leakage current will not flow to the human body. So I have to isolate this. So we use again operational amplifier, an integrator, and it works like isolation amplifier. Then we understand about the analog multiplier and divider. Analog multiplier is basically, we can say, for the multiplication purpose, we use Gilbert mixer. In that Gilbert mixer, it basically mixes with the help of local oscillator. For example, I am giving 5 volt, 5 we can say 5 hertz, but I have to convert into 50 hertz. Though I needed 10 hertz, which multiply with 5, we get 50 hertz. So Gilbert is mixer having some mathematics with the help of it. So we can do division also in a mixer. So multiply and divisor, we have understood about this thing. Then we understand about the basically the function generator. The function generator is very important component. Why it is very important component, my dear student? Because through the function generator, we can generate different types of waveform. Maybe it is a rectangular, maybe it is sinusoidal, maybe it is a triangular. So we can do three all things with the help of function generator. Because on a function generator, we have again an integrator, that is op amp 741. So through which we can get the output. So we talked a lot about this. We can say the function generator. Then we talked about the optocoupler, basically optocoupler. Here we having the optocoupler. Then we have understood about the frequency to voltage converter. We have basically proposed instrument or equipment for that, through which we can convert the input voltage frequency, input the frequency to the output voltage. We are having two things in it: frequency path, and the another one is the voltage path. So in frequency path, we are having integrator. Both we are having the integrator. So again, we are using op amp, operational amplifier type. Then we have understood about the temperature to voltage converter or current converter. Same thing we can say like frequency to voltage. Then we basically understand about the grounding and shielding. So grounding and shielding are very main important parts, because grounding is to provide the electrical precaution, we need grounding. And in grounding, basically we have two different types of grounding, because leakage current should uh, always follow that part in which impedance is lower. So we have to make the lower impedance. In grounding, what we have to do, we have to make the lower impedance. So in this, what you have to do, basically what I want to do and what you want to do and what we want to do, basically what company want to do, is to make grounding. And grounding are of in the two ways or two forms. One is the multiple, another one is the single point. Means multiple point and single point. So I'm taking first single point. So in single point, what we can do, for example, I am having 9 different equipments, but they having the grounding. So I connect all the groundings in a single point. That is known as single point grounding. Okay, and I having 9 equipments. So 9 equipments individually having their 9 equipments individually they are having the grounding points. So multiple grounding is there, single point grounding and multiple point grounding. So having two types of grounding, single point and multiple, to make the leakage current zero. So that is very necessary because we have to prevent from the electric the leakage current. Precaution should be there. Then we have understood about the shielding. Shielding is also necessary for the equipments because we want to shield it. Otherwise, what will happen? We make a close connection between the all parts of that component. So there will be some closed circuit. So leakage current will flow, and it will burst or it will burn it. So we make isolation between that. So we make the shielding. So shielding is copper graded shielding. It is already in the, we can say, cable. We'll find in a cable. So if we find in a cable, so what I have to do, we make shielding facts. We make what? We make shielding facts in it. So copper graded shielding is there, other shielding effect. So all metals having this effect. Shielding is there, permeability is there, conductivity. So we make cables like this, shielding facts we have. Okay. So we already understood all these things in the unit number 3. Then unit number 4. In the unit number 4, basically it deals with the power system instrumentation number 1, and unit number 5 is again power system instrumentation number 2. These are the basic thing which we are doing basically for power system instrumentation. So in this, the first part is how we measure the voltage, how we measure the current. So for the measurement of voltage, we having a voltmeter always connected across the big circuit, we can say, from which we have to measure the voltage. Then we having the ammeter, measurement of current, always connected in series. So this is always connected in series, and we can say the loading fact, because internal current having the parallel resistance and we having the series resistance, we can find it higher and lower and higher value, zero and infinity value of the resistance. So they are the loading facts. Loading facts means if I am connecting the voltmeter in a circuit. So voltmeter having its own internal resistance, and so that resistance basically effect in the while we measure this voltage. So that is the, we can say, loading effect. What we are getting, the loading effect. Similar to that current, we having the internal resistance, again having the loading effect of that ammeter. So these all are in the voltmeter meter. We having two types of voltmeter ammeter. One is for the DC, that is for permanent moving coil. We have understood in the unit in the third semester, that is electric image instrument. Then we having the moving iron. Okay, okay, these all things. Then we having the analog and digital. In the analog, we having the full scale deflection, deflecting torque, controlling torque, suspension, gravitational thing. We having the pointer, needle system, and magnets. So these are in the we can say analog. But if I'm talking about the digital, though in digital we having the analog binary system that works on 0 and 1. So we are getting on the screen, or the screen we are getting the value that is in the form of digits. So that is a digital. So we have understood about the analog and digital, their loading effect and all these in the voltage and current measurement. Then we have understood about the frequency, phase angle measurement. So the instrument which we use for this is the CRO, that is cathode ray oscilloscope. In this cathode ray oscilloscope, we having the main equipment or main part is CRT, that is cathode ray tube. In that cathode ray tube, we having two plates, horizontal and vertical deflecting plates, and we having the electro gun which is fitted by the which having the heater system. So as I am applying the heating, the electrons move from the gun. Then we having the focusing anode and the pushing anode. Then we having the deflecting plates, horizontal vertically. So they basically, what do they do? They basically put the electron beam which moves on the screen. So it gives you the fire signal. This signal is we can realize with the help of screen. We can visualize with the help of screen. So that is the electron signal by horizontal and vertical. So through this, CRT is the main equipment. So from this we can measure the voltage. We use this CRO for the what? For the measuring purpose of voltage, frequency, time, and phase. So all four components we can measure, all the four quantities we can easily measure with the help of CRO, that is cathode ray oscilloscope. So I hope you understand this thing. And in CRO, we can measure with their deflections. Horizontally and vertically, we can identify the voltage, identify the time. If time is identifying, then we have the frequency, and we get the gap of true frequency wave, that is phase. So we can identify all the four quantities with the help of this. So we have understood this thing. Then we having the active and reactive power measurement. So if I'm talking about the, my dear student, active and reactive, though we having the complex power. That is, we can represent in the C and L combination. That is L, resistance with capacitance, resistance with inductance, series in AC, or we can say RLC, RL and RC. We having the, in R we not find any third power, that is the, we can say active power we'll find, and apparent power we find. Apparent become active in RL, means R, only R. But if I'm talking about the RL and RC, we having the another power that is known as reactive power. The rating is VAR. Active always we having watt, and apparent is having the V. So the phasor sum of active and reactive power is known as apparent power. So we can identify by the Pythagoras theorem with a right angle triangle with the impedance triangle of these two. We can identify also power factor. We can identify this thing. So this is very easy to identify. We can say the power which is dissipate in a resistor is known as active power. The power which is average power which is consumed by an inductor or a capacitor is known as reactive power. So active and reactive both we have. Both power we have, active and reactive. I hope you understand this thing. So we can measure it very easily with the help of the meters we have. Then we have understood about the energy meters. So energy meters we having analog and digital both, and electromechanical we having. So we discussed a lot about this thing. Now today we are going to start our the new topic, that is power system instrumentation is the topic, and the unit 4 is running basically. And the topic which we are going to cover today is the electrical energy meters. And why I'm using this thing, that is electrical energy meters. In the previous lecture I told you about energy meters. So in this we discussed some that thing and some more, which is tell you about the special energy. Tariff we can also calculate with the help of this. So moving forward, the object is basically I'm going to start my lecture, and I'm delivering this lecture to you, my dear student. So there will be some objective from my side, and there will be some goal which I want to achieve to deliver this lecture. So first objective is help the learner to understand the basics of electrical energy meters. So what are the basics we have? Which type of electrical energy meters we have? So we are going to discuss this thing. Then next, understand the detailed theory about working of electrical energy meters and spatial energy meters. Means tariff part we are using in it, we are indulging in it. So though how it works. So spatial energy meter we are going to discuss this thing. I hope to understand. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, what is electrical energy meter? Now, a device that measures the amount of electrical energy consumed by electrically powered device. Now, first thing is there. We can say the power is there, okay, but power on how much time I consume that power is basically converted to energy. So based on time, we can say P into T. Energy is what? How much the power we consume in the certified or specified or given or measured time, we can see. So what is electrical energy meter? A device. It is a device, component, element, or particle, we can say, that measure the amount of electrical energy. They measure the amount of electrical energy consumed by electrically powered devices. By whom? By electrically powered devices. Now, what is electrical energy? Electrical energy is the product of power, that is P, and the time T of how long the power is consumed or spent. Means we can say the product of P and T, where P is the power, T is the time, and how long the power is consumed. Means how long we can consume the power or spend. So that is given by W is equals to P into T. Now, if I'm talking about the unit of measurement, now how can we measure that? How we are getting the how much energy we have consumed? So unit of measurement is always given by kilowatt hour. 1000 watt hour is equals to 1 unit. 1000 hour watt hour, you can say 1000 watt is always your 1 unit. Okay. So kilowatt hour, the amount of energy consumed by 1 kilowatt load, the amount of energy consumed by what? 1 kilowatt load over the period of 1 hour. over the period of one, how much hour? 1 hour. I hope you understand. Now, types of energy meter. If I'm talking about the energy meter, that is electrical energy meters. So there are two types of EM, that is electrical energy meters. We can say EEM or EM, which works on different mechanisms. Can say which works on different mechanisms. The first is electromechanical induction type. We have already studied in the electrical measurement, but now we are going to study more about this thing, how it works, how it take the working take place in it, how the mechanism uh, having how they work basically. So on the basis of mechanism, different mechanism, we having two types: electromechanical induction type meter. Secondly, we having electronic meter or solid state meter. We can see. Now moving forward, electromechanical energy meter. If I'm talking about electromechanical energy meter, though the disk is acted upon two sets of coil. Now how it works? A disk is acted on two sets of coil. Disk is there rotating like this. So two sets of coil are we having a disk like this, rotate like this, okay, like this. Okay. So disk is acted upon two sets of coil. One coil produce magnetic flux depends on current. So one coil will give you the flux depends on current, and other depends on the voltage which lags by 90. So one coil produce magnetic flux depends on current, and other depends on the voltage which lags by 90 degree. We can see that produce eddy current into disk. What we are going to do, what we are finding here, the produce that produce what, eddy current into the disk, that produce eddy current into the disk and force to rotate the disk. One that produce eddy current into the disk and produce force to rotate the disk. Okay, so a permanent magnet exert an opposing force proportional to the speed of rotation of the disk. A permanent we are using in the both sides. A permanent is there. So a permanent magnet exerts an opposing force proportional to the speed of rotation. You can say what we having, a permanent magnet exerted an opposing force proportional to the speed of rotation of the disk. The equilibrium between these two opposing forces, two forces, one is like this, another one is like this. So two opposing force like this, we are having this thing. So they are in the opposite. So equilibrium between these two opposing forces results. Does this to rotate at a speed? The disk to rotate at a speed proportional to the power usage. Disk to rotate at a speed proportional to the what? To the power usage. We can say the disk drivers a resistor mechanism which counts revolution. The disk drives a resistor mechanism. Disk having the resistor mechanism which counts what? Revolution. What revolution we have? So that works on revolutions. Then we having electromechanical energy meter here. Now see, in this meter, basically this is the disk which is rotating. Single phase supply I am giving here. This is a coil. This is a power factor coil we having. Shunt magnet, spindle visco, the gear mechanism, and here we find the reading resistor system. Moves. When this moves, it moves. Okay, and it is connected to what? Load. And brake management is there. Brake magnet. Because the management made by the magnet here. So it is known as brake magnet, which basically stop that disk when we want to stop it. Okay, now again thing is there, this to rotate, it is seen here. So voltage coil it is here, copper shading rings are there, current coils are there, rotating aluminum disc. The disc is made up of aluminum for producing the eddy current for magnetic field, we can say. So rotating aluminum disc is there, and we are applying the magnetic brake here. So here it is showing you the magnetic brake, and we having a great gear train to dials. Dials are there which move, so it is like this. So it's moving and the readings are moving. So similar to that. Now, electromechanical energy meter, it is seen here. So this is basically the electromechanical energy meter, how it is showing you. We having the power in it, we having the certain things in it, we having the disk, we having the control mechanism, we having the magnets, we having the we can say dial system. So all these we having in this. Okay. So first point is basically one is showing you the voltage coil. This one showing you the voltage coil. And second, if I'm talking about, though it is shown by the current coil, means secondly is your basically current coil. And third is your stator. Voltage coil, current coil, third is your stator. You can say stator or confines magnetic field. And fourth is your aluminum rotor disc. This is shown here. Aluminum rotor disc. Then we having the rotor brake magnets. Having what? Rotor brake magnets. These are the brake magnets similar to that one. This one. This is the rotor magnets we having. Six we having the spindle we can say with worm gear, and seventh is your display. So we having seven components in it: voltage coil, current coil, field, magnetic field, disc, brake. We can say gear mechanism, spindle, and then we will the dial. So it is work like this. That is your electromechanical energy meter internal. How it looks like this. Okay, I hope you understand about this thing. Now moving forward, waving thing voltage coil, that is the first part. Many tons of fine wire encased in plastic, connected in the parallel with the load. Connected parallel with the load. Current coil, 3 tons of thick wire connected in series with the load. We have it. Stator concentrates and confined magnetic field. Aluminum disc, rotor disc we already have for rotation purpose. Rotor brake management is there with the brake magnets we can see. Spindle with bomb gear we having, and display dials through which we can find. So it is the how it looks basically, how we can find, how can we identify it is an energy meter, electrical energy meter, how it looks basically. So this is the thing. Now moving forward, electronic energy meter, EEM. Electronic energy meters we having this thing. So it is electronically we can find the values based on digits basically. So how it works? Electronic energy meter is based on digital micro technology. It is based on digital micro technology. In short form we can say it is based on DMT, digital micro technology. Functions are controlled by a specially designed IC called AIC. Application is specified integrated circuit. Functions are controlled by specifically designed IC, also called AIC, that is application specified integrated circuit, we can say. Analog circuits are also present in WEM to sample. Analog circuits are also there, present in electronic energy meter to sample. To sample what? Current and voltage. Sample current and voltage. We are having the sampling. The input data voltage is compared with programmed reference. The reference value I am having, so the programmed reference we are having, though I have compared that input data, and voltage rate is given to the output. The output rate is given to the basically this voltage rate of voltage is given to the output. The output, this output is then converted into digital data, which is converted into average value, average of these two. Average value, we can say a mean value, is the measuring unit of power. Average value or the measuring unit is the basically we can say what? Measuring unit of power, we can say. The output of AIC indicated by the LEDs as pulses. Output of AIC, that is application, we can say application is specified integrated circuit, that is IC basically based on application. So application specified integrated circuit indicated by the LED as pulses. These pulses are equal to the average kilowatt hour. It is always used to be equal to the average kilowatt hour, that is known as kilowatt hour per unit. It is known as what? Kilowatt hour per unit. I hope you understand. Now, electronic energy meter has what? This type of meter has various features. They basically having various features in it. First, display in LCD LED monitors. We find this thing. Calculate always real power, reacting and apparent. So we can also calculate real, reactive and apparent with the help of this electronic energy meter. Okay. Calculate bill in specified tariff plan. Calculate bill. We can also calculate the bill in specified which type of specified tariff plan. So nowadays we are having these type of energy meters fitted in our domestic purpose. In our houses we find this type of instrument. We having this type of instrument. So calculated bill in the specified tariff plan. Send billing information to report wirelessly. Wirelessly means no wire, no use of wire is there. So with the help of internet, Zigbee and other technology, it can transform. So send billing information to remote wirelessly. Report and record important parameters. Report and record important parameters. They do. Some has prepaid feature, so we can also do prepaid. Means advance we make the payment, then we can do it. I hope you understand. Now it is look like this. It is look like this electronic or smart energy meter. Nowadays we are using smart energy meter, so it connect directly with the appliances in your house. That for example we are having a refrigerator, though it is connected with refrigerator, washing machine, RO, chimney, ducting, air cooling system, air conditioner, TV, television, which consumes high power. So they are battery connected. What is meter? A device which measures, indicates, and records certain measurable quantity. So what is energy meter? A device which measures, indicates, and records electrical power flow energy in a specified time between 2 points. Okay, 2 points. Okay. Prerequisite of a meter. What we need: purpose catering to commercial needs, futuristic catering to foreseeable needs, means forecasting we can do with the help of this. Reliable, repeatability. Repeat we can identify this. Accurate, good amount of money at stake. So that is accurate. Okay. Now, classification of meters. Now these are the classifications. Spatial energy meter we are having. One, we have understood about the what type of energy electrical energy meter we have. Basically electronic energy meter and electrical energy meter we have. Okay, electromechanical and electronic we have. How they work, I already told you. 7 equipments. We'll find 7 components in. We can say electromechanical and electronic. We having only the analog data. We can say we convert into the binary form. So these all are about the electrical electronic meter. But in this we having the classification of meter. So we having interface meter installed at interconnecting points between generating company to the interstate system. Interstate system. Then generating company to intrastate system. We have interface meter covered under ABT. Okay. So consumer meter. Electrical utility to consumer not covered under interface meter. We having interface meter, though we in interface meter we having three things. In consumer meter, electrical utility to consumer not covered under interface meter, means interface meter is different. We are interfacing something, but we can say electrical utility consumer meter, it is different for it. Now energy audit, accounting and auditing meter. So energy accounting and auditing we having different meters. So use between generating stations to different segments of electrical system determines consumption of power and loss. Consumption of our consumption of, we can say, consumption of power and losses. Now the our focus is on SEMs, spatial energy meters, which are known as interface meters, which are known as what? Interface meters. Now moving forward, what is spatial energy meter? Now spatial energy meter is an specific application specific microprocessor based solid state energy. What is it? Application specific microprocessor based solid state energy meter. Okay, similar to that your electronic meter, but it may having the, it is in this we having these application specific, means which type of application have to perform or achieve, though it works on this together with a data collecting device DCD and a local computer forms a powerful network system or network of metering. It forms what? Basically this together with a data collecting device DCD and a local computer forms a powerful system of metering and data logging. What we have? Data logging. Okay, so we having a powerful system of metering and data logging we have. This arrangement of metering and data logging gives a unique method. This arrangement of metering and data logging gives a what? Unique method for measurement of all relevant electrical. This arrangement of metering and data logging gives a what? We can say unique method for measurement of all relevant electrical quantities. We can say this arrangement. Having the arrangement of metering and data logging gives a unique method for measurement of all relevant electrical quantities. So this is the spatial energy meter. Now, why metering is required? EBT three-part tariff. We can say three-part tariff. So we can say tariff meter is also there. Capacity charge is always given by E. 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 Okay. And energy charge, scheduled energy charge is given by B. And adjustment for deviation or unscheduled interchanges. We can say capacity charge is A, energy charge or we can say scheduled energy charge we having the B, adjustment for deviation or unscheduled intercharges. You can say what? Capacity charge A, energy charge or scheduled energy charge we having B, adjustment for deviation. We having what? We having the deviation, that is the adjustment for deviation, oblique unscheduled interchange changes, or we can say the interchanges we having. So unscheduled interchanges we having C, and energy charge oblique scheduled energy charge we having B, and capacity charge is A. So the total payment for the day we can count as A plus B plus minus C. Which type I have to indulge or which type I have to remove from it. So if I'm indulging, if I'm enacting, if I'm altering, if I'm inducing, so we can use plus sign. And if I want to remove that part, if I want to remove wave of that part, do I use minus? So that is why it is written here. Total payment of the day we can calculate ABT, that is we having A plus B. A we are having the capacity charge, B we having the energy charge or scheduled energy charge, and plus minus C is basically the unscheduled interchanges. We have adjustment for the deviation in the plus or minus form, we can say. Okay. Now what is metering here? Meter data handling. We use metering why? For meter data handling. The meter data we having handling. We have to do the handling. In which manner I have to do work. So it is basically represented by this meter data handling. Converting meter data into useful information. Converting meter data into useful information. So first is your feeder wise, second is your station wise, third is your state wise, fourth is your region wise. So meter data handling is there. We use the metadata handling, we can say here, and converting, we can say what, metadata into useful information. Now what we are going to do in this basically we are converting the metadata into the useful information. Metadata I am getting and I am converting it into the useful information. So the four categories we have to work on it. First is the feeder wise. We can do work on the feeder basis, so feeder wise, then station wise, then we have the state wise, then we have the region wise. So feeder are of two types. We can say incoming and outgoing feeder. Incoming, which we are getting, for example, Kota thermal power station is far away from our Jaipur, so one feeder is coming from Kota thermal power station, one is coming from solar, if we are having the renewable part, one from Suratgarh, one from we can say Chhapada. I'm giving an example of Rajasthan. So that is the incoming feeder. But this is coming to the substation of 400 kV, 400 kV, and I am giving to the 220 kV, that is outgoing feeder. So 400 is incoming, we are getting from these all stations, and if I am giving to the 220, that is outgoing feeder. Now that feeder will become incoming feeder to that 220 kV. So that is feeder wise. Incoming feeder is there, outgoing feeder we have, so it is based on incoming feeder or outgoing feeder we have. Okay, so feeder wise we having, station wise we having, that how many station, generating station we need, power station we need, or substation we need. We can say a substation of 765, 400 kV, 220 kV, we can say 132 kV, 33 kV, and 11 kV. So that is the station. State wise, for example, I am basically handshaking of the power with nearby state, that is Punjab. Now I'm talking about Punjab because Punjab is near to Rajasthan. Delhi is also near to Rajasthan. So we having the handshake with them. To, though we having the state wise. For example, I am getting the energy from Punjab. Do I place a meter there? If I am giving energy to the Punjab, then I place a meter there. So we can say metering state wise. Region wise, for example, we having northern region, southern region, southern region, northern regions. So we having four types of regions are there: northern region, southern region, northern region. So region basis. So northern region we have, southern region we have, southern region we have, northern region. So if I'm giving from southern to northern, or northern to southern, east to west, west to east, we can say. So the we use a meter here. So we are having converting meter data to into useful information. That is the useful information we have. That may be the feeder, incoming and outgoing feeder, station, state, and region wise. Now it is a challenging task for the utilities due to huge volume of data logged. It is a challenging task for the utilities due to huge volume of data logged by these meters. It is a challenging task, my dear student. Okay, so the area covered by meters, we can say IGSS, substations, insulated ICTS we having, feeders we having, any other draw or injection points, drawing and injection point we have, spread over the state, region, and the country as whole. So we can work for it. So we are having the area covered by the meters. We can see this thing. ISGS, substations, ICTS, feeders, any other withdrawing means drawing, and injection points spread over the state, region, and the country as whole. So these are about the energy meter. Then the metering management. Initial oblique one-time activities. Choose the category of meter which you want to do. That is the metering management. Selection of meter which you want, which type of meter you want. Installation of meters in a strategic locations. Deciding status of meters as main You are connecting as a mean, check and standby meters. Periodic oblique maintenance activities, maintaining healthiness, can say periodic checking or time correction. Periodic testing we have, replacement of meter as when we required. Regular routine activities what we have, collection of data, which we given feed to the basically the energy meter. Transmittal of data to central location of processing. Transmittal of data to the central location of processing. Processing metadata into useful information. And archiving, we can say final process data, combining all. So this is comes in the category of metering management. How we use meter, in which manner I use meter. So this is the metering management. How can we manage it, in which manner? I hope you understand. So this is all about the topic. Now some related MCQs related to that topic is this. The instrument which works only with DC is electrolyte meter, mercury meter, induction motor, both A and B. So option is D. Electrolyte motor and we can say mercury meter. The electrolyte energy meters are essentially a true watt hour meter and ampere hour meter, either watt hour or ampere hour meter, neither. An electrolyte ampere hour meter can be converted into watt hour meter by multiplying them by voltage of the circuits in which it is used, multiplying them by the current of the circuit in which it used, multiplying them by the power of the circuit in which it used, cannot be converted. This option is in case of motor meters, the speed of rotation is directly proportional to the current in case of ampere hour meter and to the power in the case of watt hour meter. That is option E. In motor meter, the speed control of rotating system is done by using a permanent magnet, train of wheels and dials, pinion, and all of these. So option is A, permanent magnet. Commutator motor meters are either ampere hour or 2 watt hour meter. So option is C. Commutator type meters can be used for AC supply, DC supply, both AC and DC. None of these. So option is C, both AC and DC. Now, the induction type, we can say induction type phase watt hour meters uses a control spring, pointer, brake magnet, and spindle, and all of these. So brake magnet and spindle, not control spring and not pointer. I earlier told you. Induction motor meter or induction, we can say watt hour meter. Due to shunt magnet, the torque is not zero power factor. It can be compensated by using shading ring, power factor compensator, drill holes in disc on the diameter, both A and B. So shading ring and power factor compensator. That is PFC. I earlier told you this thing. Okay. For a friction compensation in the induction watt hour meter is done by making ratio of shunt magnet flux and series magnet flux large with the help of two shading bands. The ratio of the series magnet flux and shunt magnet flux large with the help of two shading bands. We can see the ratio of shunt magnet flux and series magnet flux with the help of three shading bands, and the ratio of the series magnet flux and the shunt magnet flux large with the help of three shading bands. So the option is A. Answer is that is the ratio of the shunt magnet flux and series magnet flux large with the help of two shading bands. So option is B. I hope you understand. So this is all about the lecture. These are the some reference books which I took some important contents to deliver this lecture for you, my dear students. So first book is basically the A.K. Sahni, Dhanpatra and Sons, Electrical and Electronic Measurement. Second is the Electrical Measurement and Measuring Instruments by Rajesh Prasad Khanna, publisher. And third is the international author book, that is A.S. Morris, Principle of Measurement and Instrumentation, Apprentice Hall publication. So in my view, all books are having the good content. So you can just refer it. These books having good content in it. You can just go through it, just read it, just learn it, and these are available in our library. So these having good books. So thank you from my side. This is all about from my side for energy meters and special energy meters. I hope you understand about this thing, my dear student. I hope you understand that about the energy meters. So this is all about from my side. So thank you for listening. Thank you for precious listening. I hope you understand the whole thing.